Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's seminar. My name is Amnon. I'm from provision-isr, and with me is David Siboni from our technical department, who will present this seminar today. A few things about the webinar for today. First of all, we muted everyone. We will leave room for questions at the end of this seminar today. However, you can write any question that you have in the middle in the chat box, and we will ask at the end if you need, or at the end we will open microphones so you can ask any question you want. Today's topic is a provision CAM2 app. We will focus on more, in our last seminar, if you joined, we talked about the basic of the app, the basic things that you need to know. Today we're going to focus on the advanced features inside the app, things that usually installers should know, and how to set up the app and how to configure push notifications and many other small features that the end customer not necessarily use every day, but you can find very attractive features that can help you improve the system and improve the experience of the customer. We'll try to show as much as we can. Today's seminar is about 45 minutes. And like I said, at the end, we will leave room for questions. This webinar is being recorded. At the end of it, you will get a recording of this webinar. And I want to remind you that we have a second webinar today at 4 p.m. Israel time, basically the same one. So if you need to view it again, or if you want to recommend to an installer to join, he is welcome to join for today's afternoon seminar. Thank you very much. Sit back, enjoy. And David, go ahead.
Thank you, Amnon. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here in our webinar. Today, we are going to do some more technical, to show some more technical features regarding to our to the application, to the CAM2 app, which is what you can see right now on your screen. If you have any questions, you can send them by chat. Of course, you will get answers. And let's begin. So normally, on the application, normally we would show how to search for a face and how to search for a playback and see live view. Today, we're going to show some other things that are more useful. Okay, they can help us in giving technical support to our customers. They can help us to do practically anything that we need to do on the recorder itself, straight from the application from our phone. Today's webinar is going to focus straight on this menu. Okay, we're going to go through local, remote settings, server. We're going to go one by one and see what each option does. Now, all of us have it on a palm of our hands, but we don't always know the abilities that we have. So this is the time to show it. So we're going to start. Amnon, please tell me if something is wrong with the sound or anything. In the meantime, I'm going to continue. We're going to start with the local. Okay, the local setting is a reference to everything that is going on our phone. How the application is interacting with our phone. So we're going to go to the local and check what we have there. First, we have the playback prior to push message. It's pretty obvious what it means. Whenever we have a push message, if you will click it in order to see the playback, we're going to get a 10-second playback before the actual event that has happened. So if a face got detected and we got a push, we're going to press that push, and we're going to see 10 seconds of a recording before the actual face has been detected. Of course, we can change it to any of the following options. Notification type. Notification type, we can choose whether the notification is going to be sound and vibration or do not disturb. So we don't have, we're gonna get notifications, but the phone is not going to alert us. Of course, by default, it's going to be sound and vibrate. Reserved disk space. Okay, disk, it means how much space is going to be used on our phone. So the default is going to be 50 megabyte. Of course, it preserves the data for snapshots and playbacks that we are saving intentionally on our phone. We can choose between 50 megabyte to 500 megabyte, even to 1 giga. Okay, that will be taken from our phone for recordings and snapshots. Recycle recording, let's say that we are very active and we save a lot of snapshots and a lot of video. So in some point that 50 megabytes are going to finish, are going to end. So this is why we have the recycle recording. The application will automatically record on older recordings that we have, okay? But we'll preserve that 50 megabyte that are taken from our phone. Of course, if we untick it, we won't be able to save more than 50, or the parameter that we have chosen. Number of snapshots, okay? Number of snapshots, this is actually very cool. We have here a number that we can choose. Whenever we take a snapshot from the live view of our application, whenever we press the snapshot, we're going to get 1 snapshot, unless we choose any other parameter here. If we choose 4, then whenever we click on the snapshot button, we're going to get 4 snapshots of the same picture that we have chosen. And split snapshots, this button right here, is actually, I'm going to show you first without it. Let's see first the demonstration without it. Let's choose one of the NVRs. Okay, let's do a split to 4. Okay, we can see 4 cameras on our application. Now, whenever we press on one of the images, we have here the snapshot button, which is right here. So whenever I press it, I'm going to press it right now. Take a look that only the upper left window is flashing. Okay, let's see it once again. Only that one is flashing because this is the picture that we have saved into our phone. Now, if we will go back into our local settings, into the split snapshot, and we're gonna tick it, take a look what happens now. I'm going to click the same button once again, and now all of our screen is flashing. So basically we have saved all of those snapshots. Okay, you can do the same for 4, 9, or 16 split channel, all works the same. So this is a great way to immediately save tons of pictures from your phone. This is a feature that not many people know of. Favorite, we all know the favorite groups. Okay, we know how to add favorite groups, but sometimes we want to give a different name to our group, or to delete a group, or add a new group. So this is where we do it. Okay, we have our groups. Let's do it more organized. Okay, we have all of our groups, group 1 until 10. If we want to edit the name of the group, 1 second. Okay. Okay, I was informed that we have a 3-second delay, so whenever I say something, it's not immediately on the screen, so I'm going to try to compensate on that loss of time. So now we are in the favorite. Okay, really simple click on the edit button. We will be able to edit the group name. So we can give our groups different names. Just a reminder, a group can contain pictures from multiple NVRs from different locations that we have NVRs. We can take 2 cameras from this NVR, 4 cameras from the other, and create a group that is combining multiple cameras. Then we can give it a name. For example, building A, if we have a lot of cameras from one of the buildings, or from the corridor, or from the kitchen, or wherever we want. You want to delete a group, same goes from here. You can just mark the groups and press the trash can on the top. Then you can delete the groups. Of course, in the meantime, I'm not going to delete it. Okay. Launch settings. In launch settings, we determine what the application is going to do whenever it is turned on. Okay, we clicked on the app, CAM2 app, now it is on. What happens automatically? So we can choose, this is the default by the way, to play last preview channels. So the last thing that you had, the last window, the last videos that you chose to play whenever you closed your application, whenever you turn it back on, those are the exact channels that are going to play. You can choose to play a different favorite group, okay, instead, or you can choose to play a device. Okay, we have a lot of devices on our application. By the way, we can choose the device, whether it is a camera or an NVR. We can see also the status, if it's online or offline, okay, also, and we can choose to play them. Gesture password. It's a security measure. If we have, if we want to maintain an extra safety, give an extra security for our application, then whenever our application is turned on, we will be asked to provide the password that we provide right here. Screen rotation correction. If you have any troubles whenever you're tilting the phone and the image does or doesn't flip along with the phone, of course, previously to that, make sure that your phone have that option, this one right here. If everything is on and something is malfunctioning, just press this button, it should work. OSD on-screen data. Whenever we tick the on-screen data, we will get extra information on our live video, okay, like the camera name, and the recording status, for example. Original scale display window. We're going to tick it and I'm going to show you what it does. Okay, in original scale, I'm not sure if we can see it, but for example, let's take this camera. The original scale of this camera, as we can see it, let's go back to the local. Original scale. Okay, now it is full screen. Whenever we turn on the original scale, it means that the application would not automatically fit the video into our screen. So we will see the original frame, which is less recommended, of course, because in those kind of situations, if the frame of the picture is not precise into our phone, we're going to get black edges like here. If you can see, we have some black edges. It's because that we are getting the frame from the camera just as it is. So we see 100% of the image with its proportions, which is not 100% to the screen. Of course, by default, we don't have this button ticked, so we will normally get a full screen image, just like here. Okay. Okay, reverse PTZ directional controls. Of course, if you just like in video games, when you want to take it down and when you pull down and you want the picture, the PTZ to go up, and vice versa, then you can control it right here. In PTZ gesture operation, we will basically get a extra explanation when we are dealing with PTZ cameras. Automatic connection. This is it's like a VMS mode, okay, automatic connection. Basically, we will get a status of all of our devices if they are online or offline, even before we try to see some videos from those devices. So when the automatic connection is on, we're going to see our online devices. Whenever the automatic connection is off, we're going to see, okay, no, we need to wait 10 seconds. It doesn't worth it. Those are important 10 seconds. We're going to not get basically the status of those devices. By the way, the maximum amount of devices that you can connect to your application and to get their status, online or offline, is 32, okay? You can connect up to 128 different devices to your application, but without the ability to know whether those devices are online or offline. Landscape mode. in landscape mode, it will just force the application to go into not horizontal, like this. I forgot the name. In landscape mode, vertical mode. Okay. This is it for the local. Remote settings. Okay, we're gonna go to the remote settings. What is the remote settings? Just what it means. It means that we can actually change and modify the settings of our device. We have an NVR, which is located at our customers 1,000 kilometers away, and we need to check something, our customer complains about something, we can use our phone. We don't even need a team viewer and computer in order to fix his problem. Of course, he should have internet. If internet is his problem, then we cannot do nothing, but of course, let's see our options. So in here we can see all of our devices that we can operate from our application. Each one is a different device. I'm going to choose one of the NVRs, and let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so we have a couple of options. We have camera, record, system alert, disk network, and knockout and authority. I hope that the screen already loaded on Zoom. Let's start with the camera option. So I'm going into the camera. Actually for this, I'm going to do something special. So you guys can see right now, on the left side of the screen, you can see the NVR that I'm connected to using my application. Okay, this is the NVR. I will divide the windows into 4. Now we have 3 cameras and another camera that is currently offline. I want to show you what I'm doing. So please, everyone, focus on the right side of the screen. Tell me, you cannot see the Zoom window of the videos, right? I'm not hiding anything. You can see the screen like it should.
We can, but like I said, there is a short delay between what you say and what we see.
I say, okay, yes, I'm going to try to speak slower. Okay, so to the right side of the screen, we can see still you can see the application, and I'm going to add a camera. I'm going to add a camera to the NVR. So let's see our options. I'm pressing add a camera. We have a couple of choices. Quickly add a camera, add camera manually, quickly add recorder manually, and default password. We're going to show only the quickly add camera, because the rest of the options, if the quickly add camera is working, then obviously the rest are. The default password will determine what would be the default password that we are going to use to add a camera. Now, going to the quickly add camera, we are basically accessing the local area network of the NVR. The NVR is going to actually, whatever the NVR is going to see on his local network, all of the cameras and recorders, we are going to see right here, right now. Okay, so the list of cameras that you can see me scrolling down right now are cameras that are not necessarily on the NVR, but they are on the network. So I'm looking for camera number 65. There it is. This is the IP of the camera, IP65. That camera is right next to me. Now I'm going to choose it, okay? And I'm going to add it into the NVR. Now, as soon as I do that, I want you all to take a look on the left side of the screen, which is my NVR right here. And let's see what happens. There it is. Hello, hello. Actually, what happened right now is that I used my application to search for devices on the local network of the NVR, and I added a camera using that method. So you can be in any location that you can, okay, and remotely from the NVR, you can connect to the NVR. The NVR tells your application what devices are next to it, what devices are on the LAN. Then you can choose those devices and you can add them. Now, of course, if you have the ability to add a camera, as I showed you before, you can also add a recorder, or you can manually add a camera, not just by quickly edit. So you can manually add a camera using the IP address and the username and password. Of course, when you add a camera manually, you can also provide a remote IP address. Okay, it doesn't have to be a local IP address, so we can use that application to add a remote location camera to another NVR. It's crazy. Okay. Edit a camera. In edit a camera, of course, we can choose from the cameras that are already on the NVR. We're going to get the list in a second. Okay, we'll wait 3 seconds. Make sure that you have it also on your screen. Now I'm going to scroll back. I'm going to scroll down back to the camera that I've just added. This is it. We can see it, number 65. I'm going to press edit and remove that camera. So take a look to the left side of your screen and the camera disappears. Just like that. Okay.
David, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Go another step back. Sorry, under camera, there was a section that is called add
recorder.
Add recorders.
Yes.
Can you tell a few words about it?
Yes. Same like we did with the camera. Let's go to quickly add a recorder. The NVR, I mean, we have the ability to add a recorder to the NVR. So you can back up another recorder using your recorder. Okay, or to back it up, or to just show it on the screen, same way that we used in order to add a camera. So right now on the screen, the thing that we can see is we can see the name of the DVR. Okay, we can see other recorders that are on the LAN. So in this case, instead of having millions of cameras, we have only 5 devices because we have only 5 recorders on our LAN. So we can see DVR showroom with its IP address. We can see device name, which is the name of another recorder that we have here. Of course, you can see the model. Okay, you can see also the model of the device, whether it is an NVR or a standalone hybrid DVR. Then you can just choose it, okay, and provide the details that you're going to use in order to add it. Just like with the camera, you can add the NVR. Okay, providing the password and everything. Okay, my application reacts a little bit slow, but okay. Then after you do that, you can add your recorder into your recorder. You can
also add specific channels from that remote recorders, right?
If you can add specific channels, let me check. Let me see. I'd rather to answer that later because I don't see the option from here. Basically, yes. You can channels. You can use a different amount of channels in order to add. Okay, but
David, there is one question that is being asked here about the password. They didn't show that when you add a camera from the local network, where do you punch in the password of the camera to access it?
Yes. So first of all, we have the default password. When we provide a default password, we have a default password for provision-isr products, default password for OnVIF, for HIC, for Dahua, for many other brands. If you have the wrong password, then you can access your camera, the camera that you already added. You know what? Let's make a small test. Okay, I'm going to go to default password, and in provision-isr devices, I'm going to delete a few characters so that our 65 camera that I previously added, I'm going to add it now with a wrong password since I changed the default password. So let's do that really quick, and let's see how we can change the password later on. So this is the camera. I'm going to edit. Save successfully. Now the camera is on the NVR, but we're not supposed to see it here. Yes, it's not there because it has the wrong password. Now, when we go into the camera itself, which is supposed to be right here, we can see that the camera is offline. Okay, the camera is on the NVR, but it's offline because we have a wrong password. So I'm pressing the edit button, going to that camera, 65, edit the same camera. We have a similar, window to the window that we have previously on the adding a recorder. Then I'm going to provide a password, which is very, very sophisticated and not simple. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to press OK. Let's give it a few seconds. And we have an image, as you can see on the left window. And of course, we have online. The status has changed into online. So if you add the camera, quickly add the camera will be added automatically without the option to change the password. But then you can go to the edit and edit the password. Or from the beginning, you can go to add a camera and add manually a camera. If you add it manually, then you will have from the beginning, you will have the password field. Okay, so you can provide a password. I hope it answers the questions. Okay. Next thing, the record. Okay, a reminder, we're still on the settings. We are using the application to access the settings of the NVR. In record, we can practically get access to the recording parameters of the NVR, starting from the mode setting. So we can choose how our NVR records. Most of you, I believe, know the interface of our NVR. Okay, so we can see the similarity. It is practically the same thing. Okay, it's even the same method of choosing. We can choose to record by motion, by sensor, or any other recording. We also have the advanced option, so we can choose our preferences for what we want to record. If we want only to record artificial intelligence recordings combined with motion recording, then we can do that. Also, we can change it to manual. So instead of recording for all of the cameras, we can choose each camera independently. We can choose what are we going to record for each camera. So we can see right now we have a list of 1, 2, basically all of the cameras, and we can choose that for camera number 3, we will record. We see the motion. We will record motion for 24/7 or 24/5, or basically choose a schedule. Of course, this is less recommended because in automatic, we have a preset of settings that make sure that we record. And if we forget a small something and suddenly we don't have recording, then we prefer to avoid those kind of situations. So this is why we have the preset. Just record and you have it quiet. Okay, let's give it a second to save. Okay, under advanced, we have a couple of options. First of all, we can choose if the NVR recordings permanently. Okay, like whenever the HDD is finished, then we want the NVR to keep on recording and to create a FIFO, first in and first out. Of course, if we cancel that option, the NVR will stop recording once the HDD has been filled up. We can choose dual stream record, or to record only mainstream or only substream. Of course, the number one recommendation will be to keep it on dual stream because of multiple reasons. The first one will be that whenever we record dual stream, we can view split to 16 channels, which will react super fast, either on playback or on live view. Okay, if we only record the mainstream, then of course the image is much bigger. We can control the camera's recording parameters. Okay, so actually in one window, we can first of all delay the recording time. So whenever the camera is recording, it will, whenever there is an event like motion or sensor, the camera will keep on recording for X seconds. Seconds can be chosen from here after the alarm. Okay, so whenever we had a motion, the motion is finished, the event is finished, that camera will keep on recording for 10 more seconds, just to make sure that there is nothing that has been left out. In pre-recording time, right here, we can choose how much time the camera will record before the event. Here we have a limited option, just 3 or 5 seconds. There is no need for more than that. And we have the expiration time. A quick reminder, what is an expiration time? We can choose for every camera, okay, every camera for its own. We can control how long this camera is going to have a recording on the NVR. We can choose any amount of time that we want, between 1 day to 90 days or even more if we press on the customization. Why would we want to do that? One option, one reason. If you want to save disk space, okay, if we have some cameras that are not very important to us and we have other cameras that are important, then we can just we can use it. So the less important cameras will have a recording for less time, saving more disk space for other cameras. The event recording stream and the normal recording stream, I'm going to show only the event, because once we see the event, we understand the normal recording stream. This is basically the settings for the resolution of the camera, for the bit rate, for the frame per second, for everything regarding to encoding of the cameras, okay, on the NVR. So now I'm accessing the event recording stream. Event recording stream, whenever we have an event, motion, sensor, face detection, face recognition, vehicle, DDA, analytics, whatever, whenever there is something that happens, okay, an event, then the resolution is going to be as follows. For one second floor camera, this is just one of our cameras, and we have of course different sorry, we have a different menu for every camera, and whenever we choose the camera that we want to edit, we just edit the parameters for that camera. So we can choose an encoding, okay, H265 or H264 or any other option. We can choose the resolution, okay, the resolution for recording, frame per second, 25, ABR, all of those, all of the settings that we all know from the CCTV world. And of course, we have the recommended bitrate. Okay, our NVR does the calculation for us. It takes the frame per second and the resolution and the encoding type. Okay, and it gives us a range to choose from for our recording, okay, for our bitrate. What is the recommended bitrate to have a good image and also not to kill our HDD? So in normal recording stream, we have exactly the same menu, just that it's for normal recording. Whenever there is no event, then this is the resolution that is going to be recorded. Also, this thing exists for purposes such as saving disk space, because whenever we don't have an event, then we don't mind to have some lower resolution with a lower bitrate, lower frame per second, because nothing really happens in those periods of time. Then why to waste a lot of disk space on recordings that doesn't contain any event? Network stream settings. Okay, this is basically where we can edit our substream. Our substream is used if we connect remotely into our DVR and want to watch videos, then we will normally watch the substream. Also, whenever the NVR is divided into 9 channels or 16 channels, the image turns into substream, because there is no need for a mainstream whenever we have small images, because the screen is divided. Of course, in substream also, we can just like before, we have ability to to change the parameters for the substream. We can see here that the resolution is less than 1080p or 4 or 6 or 8 megapixel. It's a D1. We can also choose the encoding and the frame per second, GOP, bitrate, and everything. View recording status, just like with the NVR, you can access and see how much data every...
David,
yes,
maybe here it's important to say for the network stream, and this will help us a lot to improve the customer experience. The customer itself is connected through his phone via 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever the network is. And by changing the substream information, you can improve the flow of video that he will get, meaning the experience that he will have as a customer viewing his cameras. It's great that he can view 4 megapixel, but if the network or the cellular provider does not allow him for a big video transmission, you can fully control the way of experience you will have. So maybe you prefer to have less resolution, but much more fluent video. This is the place to do it. And I'm sure it will help you a lot, especially in countries when the cellular interface and data is not that strong.
Thank you, Amnon. That was a very important point. 1 second. Okay. Under view recording status, we can see the recording status for each camera. So we're going to take, for example, the second floor camera. We can see that the second floor camera shows up twice, here and here. Why is that? Because if you remember, we chose dual stream recording. So every camera is being recorded twice, once in the main resolution, and secondly, in the third stream. Pay attention, this is not the substream, this is the third stream. The third stream is not touchable. Okay, it has been determined automatically by the NVR in order to provide the best image possible also for a third stream. Okay, so we have a dual stream recording. So we can see the two parameters for the camera. We can see that the mainstream is recording in this FPS, VBR, this is the bitrate, this is the resolution. And of course, we can see the same parameters for the recording stream, or as we like to call it, the third stream. Resolution is 704, 500 on 570, D1, okay. Of course, you can scroll up and down and to see the different parameters for any other camera. This is extra good for cases that your customer complains that the HDD has been finished very quickly. So we can go around the cameras and to see if maybe one of the cameras is recording. Maybe one of the cameras is recording too high frame rate or too high resolution or whatever. Then you can see that you can just lower down those parameters in order to get a better recording. Okay, so the HDD will last for longer. Amnon, can you check on Tal maybe? He called me. Okay. Next thing that we have is our system. So any parameter regarding to the system of our NVR, whether it is the general setting or date and time, even viewing log or reboot the NVR is possible through the application. We're going to show an example for some of those things. So for example, the general settings. In the general settings, we can see the device name. Okay, we can change it also. The number of the device, we can check the video format. We can change it from NTSC to PAL. We can even control the main display resolution. So for that example, I want you all also to look again to the left side of the screen. Okay, we're going to see the NVR. I'm going to change the resolution from a resolution of 4K. I'm going to change it into a poor 720p resolution, and let's see the result to the left side of the screen. Okay, the screen flashes for once. I'm not sure if you can see the difference because I'm showing you it through a camera, but the resolution has changed. Okay, it's It's pixelized a little bit here because the screen is big, and I'm going to return it into another to the original resolution. Of course, this option is good because that sometimes our client complains that he doesn't have a signal on his screen. Sometimes the television or the monitor that our client is using does not support the resolution that the NVR has on its output. So we can just access those settings through our application and try to change the resolution output, and then suddenly maybe his monitor will show a video if there isn't any other issue. Of course, you can also use...
I think the example you just gave here that we see main display 3840 over 2160 is basically 4K. It's 8 megapixel. However, the customer might not have a 4K resolution screen, so you need to change the resolution to a lower. This is what you mean, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can also control the resolution for the secondary monitor. Okay, if you have a secondary monitor connected to the NVR, you can also control the resolution of that monitor as well. Enabling wizard, we all know that whenever we turn on the NVR for the first time, we have a wizard to ask us to provide a recording parameters, motion or sensor, and go through the settings by the wizard, date and time, all of those. Of course, we can enable the wizard from here. So if our client have any issues and he doesn't know how to get into the parameters from the menu, we can just activate the wizard for him, and then he can access it. Of course, we can also change the parameters from our application. Auto sequence, we can, whenever we choose the auto sequence, we can allow the NVR to move into to start the sequence of cameras that are set on the NVR after X minutes. After 1, 3, or 30 minutes, automatically the NVR will start to play the different layouts of cameras as being set on the NVR. Of course, that if the auto sequence is cancelled, then we don't have the ability to press the minute button, the start after button. Date and time. We can also choose and set the date and the time of the NVR from the application. We can also choose an NTP server, okay, in order if we want the NVR to take the date and time automatically from the web. We can also synchronize, right? We can synchronize the date and time with our phone. Okay, so the phone will be the center for our date and time on our NVR. We can see, of course, the date and time on the NVR, the accurate date and time with the seconds of the time. We can choose date format, 24-hour or 12-hour, like in USA. Of course, we can choose whether the hour will be on manual or NTP. If we choose NTP, we have the ability to start choosing different options from here. Okay, then preserve the options of the NTP server. We're gonna keep it on manual. Of course, you can choose the time zone and daylight saving times. View log. We have any issue with the NVR, it is beeping, we don't know what's the problem, maybe the HD is filled or any other thing, then we can go into the search. Okay, we can see all of the logs provided by the NVR, reboots, restarts, even motions. Okay, even motion alerts, we can see motion from the camera street counting. It happened right about now, 11:51. We can see the date and the time. We can see it on the phone. Not sure if you can see it, but on the phone the hour is 11:52. So just about now we had an alert. Of course, you can filter those alerts. Okay, you can choose a main type. Okay, let's say operation. Then you can of course choose the content, what kind of a log that you want to see. You choose it, then you search, and then you can see a filterized log for whatever you want to search for. Reboot. We need to reboot our NVR. We don't have anyone near our NVR. Then we can just go to the reboot and reboot our device. Okay, remotely. Okay, next thing is our alert. Under alert, we under alert, we can, let's do this, okay. So under alert, we can configure our alerts from the, that are on the NVR. So for example, if you choose the alarm out, we can see all of the alarm outs that are connected to our NVR, or that the NVR has. In this case, this NVR doesn't have any alarm outputs. It uses the alarm outputs of the cameras. So we can see all of those alarm outputs. We can control whether that delay, whenever it is activated, it will remain open for 10 seconds. We can see what is the source of that output. It is the second floor camera. The schedule, we can see the schedule. This alarm output is operating for 24/7. And of course, that when we press a configure, okay, we can control all of those parameters. Okay, we can change the delay. We can change the schedule. The schedules are, you can create new schedules according to your will using the NVR. So this is how to control this sort of event, the alarm out. Email, we can create the email. We can create an email sender that our NVR is going to use. Okay, because of course, if we want to get an email whenever there is a motion or a face detection, somebody should send that email. So that the thing that is sending this email is basically our NVR. So in order for the NVR to be able to send emails, we need to provide our NVR email address. So we're going to choose to write the sender name, which will appear on the email that we will get, the email address, SMTP server. We all, in some point in some point of our life, we all set up an email address. So all of those parameters are known to you: the SMTP port, SSL, yes authentication, not authentication. Just like what we would set from our NVR, same thing are here on our application. Okay. Okay, so under alert, the same thing that I just explained about the email and display and the alarm out, same idea for the rest of the features that we can see here. Same with the display, we can choose the duration of the pop-ups that will pop on the screen locally on our NVR. Buzzer, we can control the buzzer of the NVR, the beeping sound. A push message, we can control whether the push message is going to be available at all, or whether it is going to be available in a certain amount of a schedule. Okay, on the NVR, like if we are enabling it from here, push message is going to pop up for anyone that has that same NVR on his application. Okay.
David, sorry, can you go back to this push message? I've been asked a lot about it. This push message setting is basically to enable what? The activation of push notifications?
You activate the push feature on the NVR.
Meaning push notification to every user that log into this NVR.
Yes. Let's say that me and you, we have our application, we have the NVR on our application, that same NVR. Okay, both of us have this NVR on the application. If constantly we are getting push messages all the time, I will go into the application and do that. I will disable push notifications for the NVR. You will stop getting those push messages as well. So, of course, that in a few minutes, we're going to see how to cancel push messages only for moi, or for you. Everyone can cancel for himself.
Exactly.
Okay. In alert handling setting, of course, we're going to motion alert right now. We can choose for each camera. You can see, first of all, the status for push. In that camera, whenever there is a motion detection in that camera, the second floor camera, We see that the motion is activated for 24/7. We see that whenever there is a motion, the NVR is going to take a snapshot of that same camera, and it will also record that same camera. Okay? The rest of the options, no push, no preset name, no buzzer, no email, the same options that we have on the NVR. If we press configure, then we can change those parameters. So suddenly we can activate, for example, alarm out. Whenever there is a motion on that camera, we can activate alarm out for any other, from the NVR. Okay, different alarm outs that will be triggered by the NVR. Also, we can activate the push. So whenever there is a motion on this camera, a push message will be sent to whoever has subscribed to that to the push messages that are getting that we get it by motion. Of course, we're going to get to it in a minute.
David, just one question about authorities. Who can activate and do those kinds of settings? It's according to the authorities and users, correct?
Yes. When we look in to our NVR, let me show it for a second. Okay, when we add an NVR, okay, to our application, we have to, let's take this one for example, we have to provide a username and password. Just to see video and to do whatever we need to provide username and password. We cannot access those settings.
Just for the question on chat, so naturally here, when I add the NVR to my customer phone, I'm also adding the username and password. And with the username and password comes authorities, what I can do and what I cannot do, which you build it in the NVR when you install the NVR for the first time. When you share the device, you share the QR connection of the device. You don't share the password, the username and password.
Right.
QR code sharing is only to share with your colleague the access to the NVR. However, they still need username and password in order to add actually the NVR. And when they do that, they get their permissions and everything.
Correct.
Go ahead.
You can, okay. Next is the disk. So if we will go into the disk, we can see, first of all, we can, I'm going to show you
It's important also to understand, sorry to stop you, for everyone, it's important to understand that right now David is showing full admin users and authorities, and that's why all those features are available for him. Naturally, if he logs in with a specific user that cannot do specific thing, he will not be able to show it to you. Right now he's showing you with admin authorities, so basically all the features are open for him.
Correct. It's important to know that we have all of those options, but of course, whoever has the admin and the password has a lot of power. So of course, we need to think good who gets the admin and the password and who doesn't. We are right now in the disk. We can see all of the disks that are connected into our NVR, whether they are physical disks, HDDs, like 1 and 2 right here, and the USB. We have another USB that is connected to the NVR. We can see the capacity for each one of them, okay? What can we do from here? We can press the edit button. We can press, by the way, for any one of those menus, we have the I button on the top that will tell you what the buttons are doing. So basically, if we will press on the right square, on the red square right here, then we will format the NVR, the disk. Format the disk. We're going to clear all the data. Yes, we can do that from the application. Of course, we're not going to do it right now. Along with that, we have the ability for storage mode. Okay, we all know the grouping. We can create a group and associate 1 disk or 2 disks to that group with a certain amount of cameras in order to save some space or to give extra recording period of time for our more important cameras. Those things and more can be done from the storage mode settings. Okay, we can see the group number 1, group number 2. In group number 1, we have 1 disk and we have 14 cameras. In group number 2, we have 1 disk and 2 cameras. Of course, that each one of those settings can be changed just like I'm doing right now. I can add different cameras into every group that I want, just for knowledge. View disk information. In view disk information, we can see all of the information of the disk. Nothing new here. Decrypted disk, which means that we can encrypt the disk also, but from the NVR, we can see the record period from when until when that disk has data on it. And of course, that we can see the smart info, the self-monitoring that new disks usually have. Then you can see the relocated sector count and malfunction and power uptime and all the sort of things. Under network, we can see and change the network settings on our NVR. Starting from the TCP IP, we can change the internal IP address of our NVR. We can even go to the NAT setting, okay? Network area translation. We can see what NAT we are connected to. We can enable or disable it. Basically, the NAT is the cloud. This is the P2P. If we will cancel the enable, then we won't have, nobody will be able to connect to the this NVR using P2P. And of course, we have the QR code. In a network status, we basically see all of the network parameters of our NVR. Okay, we can see the ports, the Ethernet port. We can see the bandwidth being used. In a second, we are going to see also the ports. Okay, we can see the DNSs and the PPPO. Basically, all of the parameters that we have here are listed on the view network status. Account and authority, just like what we talked about before, you can create and edit users or permission groups from the NVR, from the application. Okay, so if I will go into the edit permission group, just a small example, we can see a couple of groups here. We can choose one of them.
David, can you show instead of this how you add a new user and what kind of setting we can do for him?
Okay, the settings, the permissions that we give to our to the users, we don't do that on the user. When we create a user, we do it on the permission group. So this is what we see right here.
Great,
okay, as you can see, this group name, this permission group name is called TET. The name doesn't matter. We can see the permissions locally. What happens if some user that belongs to that permission group is connecting locally into the NVR, then we can control it. Okay, we can see what cameras he can preview, what camera he can back up, if he can PTZ control, okay, if he can hear audio, if he can go into the playback. This is for the second floor camera. Okay, so as you can see, all of the menus are similar to preserve a consistency. So we don't get confused. Everything is similar. Everything looks alike. And we can do the same thing for remote. Okay, permissions for remote, for playback and the live view. And we have all of the settings. Okay, we have a huge list of settings right here that we can enable. Okay, we can enable those settings or disable those settings to give or deny different permissions from our users, the users that are apart from this permission group. Things like scheduled management, network management. So whoever has this this switch on can basically access to the network management settings on the NVR, change the IP address, the port, and all of sort of things. Okay. Of course, if you want to add a new one, a new permission group, you do that from here. So after we did our permission group, we created a permission group with only the specific permissions that we want to allow our customer, our client, our employee, our co-worker, whoever. Then we add a user. So whenever we add a user, of course, we're not going to go through everything. Just we're going to see here, okay, that we can choose a permission group. So of course, we're not going to allow it to be an administrator because they can access and reboot the device and format the disk and everything. We're only going to give him the permissions from the group that we want him to be able to use. Okay, we want this user only to be able to, for live view or playback, then we choose the correct group. Okay, of course that we can block and allow different not users, but in this case it's by MAC address and IP address. Okay, you can create a block list or allow list. So whoever is accessing via the provided the IP that we can add or the MAC address that we can add, then those people that are connecting through those parameters will not have accessibility. Okay, they will be blocked out. We can do vice versa. Okay, we can provide an allow list. So only whoever is on the allow list will have the ability to access the NVR. The rest won't. Online users, very simple. We can see what user is online and which user is offline. Okay, we can see this one is local, so no, but we can see from here. Okay, we can see the IP address of whoever is inside of the application, who is not, and all of the other parameters. And this is it for the remote settings. This was the massive amount of time taker for the setting of the application. The rest we're gonna go through right now. So in server list, we already been there. So just a quick reminder, we have ability to see what device is online, which one is offline, with the ability to see the QR code. Like we discussed before, we can see the QR code, but if we scan it, we don't access to the device. We will still need the username and password. We can press the I button in order to see all of the parameters we previously talked about, basic info, recording status, disk information, everything is concentrated in here. Access live view, delete the device, or edit the device. This is for server list. Okay, the server list has a shortcut, which is right here. Okay, this is a very useful feature, so of course we put it on the front of the camera, of the application. File. Okay, remember in the beginning we took a lot of pictures, a lot of snapshots. If you go into the file, you see all of the pictures that you have saved, sorted out by date. 23rd, this is today, and we can see all of the pictures taken from today with the ability to access any other picture that you want, with ability to share, okay, with ability to turn. Okay, we can switch the, okay, we can change the picture. Of course, we can delete it or do whatever we need. You want to share whatever you want, just do it immediately. I will just add that whenever we have a video, for example, this video right here, we can take a video and share it directly from the application because the format of the video is MP4. Okay, many other applications, when you download a video, you download it on the raw format. Okay, the format that specific system is speaking. So when you send it via WhatsApp, it's been sent by the original format, which is not AVI or MP4. So whoever is getting the video has to download some third-party player in order to play that video. Not in this case. If you want, you share, you send, and your recipient can get and see what you sent him. Notifications.
So, David, just to be clear, with provision-isr, the file are viewable files that you can view from anywhere.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so notifications. We have a list of notifications, okay, sorted by time. We can see the name of the event, whether it is a plate recognition alarm or a face detection. For every event that we press, we can choose whether to go and access the live view or to access the playback of that specific event while the device is offline right now. If we go into the face detection, face comparison. Okay, let's wait for a second. I think that our NVR is offline. Okay, it's online. Never mind, it's gonna work in a second. Basically, we can see a few abilities. First of all, we can see the live view. We can see all of the information, including the number of the plate. Of course, in order to use it, you need an LPR camera. We can see the name of the camera. We can see the result. It's an unknown plate, the date and time, with ability to live view and remote playback the event. Of course, if you want, you can delete the event as well. In the face comparison, okay, basically if the NVR has recognized the face, then we can see a picture of that same face. It's a pity because I wanted to show you. Of course, it's Murphy law, and right now the device is offline. But let's try to capture another event maybe. Of course, we can see other events such as motion. Okay, if we had some sensor alerts, we would see that as well. Sterile area event. This is of course the DDA. So any event that you have the ability to play. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try to get back to that later. Push notification. Under push notification, this is where we do the trick that we talked about before. Let's choose one of the NVRs, for example.
David, just two questions in between. How do you save an LPR or face recognition event? It's being saved automatically, correct?
The notifications that we saw on the phone are notifications that we get from the NVR. When we press the notification and play the playback or live view, it doesn't matter, we actually see the data that is on the NVR. Now, once we see that playback, we can press the download button and we can download that playback into our phone. Of course, that all of the notifications that we see are notifications from the NVR, and this is data that is saved on the NVR. All of the playback is on the NVR until we downloaded it to the phone, and then it is both on the NVR and on our local phone.
And the second question related to notification: is there a notification when there is a new version available for the app?
It's
sorry, for the app and for the devices.
Okay, so that is a good question. First of all, for the app, it's an app that is on Google Play or in iPhone in Apple Store. Whenever there is a new app, you will get a notification or will be automatically upgraded according to what you have set up on your Google Play. It doesn't have anything with the app itself. Okay, whenever there is a new app, it is updated to the Google Play. And Google Play should provide it automatically to your phone, usually when it's in charge, and then you wake up in the morning and suddenly a lot of your apps has changed, and also this one because it's upgraded. Regarding to the NVR, so if we will go, let's see if I remember. Yes, okay. So when we go into the server list, okay, which is painted right on the upper right button, and choose one of our NVRs and press the I button. We were just in the I button, and we have on the bottom device cloud upgrade. So we don't get a notification for a new upgrade that is available, but when we go here, we can see whether the NVR is on its latest version or not, and of course that if it's not in the latest version, we can press the
This is already available. This feature is quite new, I know.
Okay,
is it already workable?
This is good question. This the feature is new. Okay, the feature is new. It is working on devices that we have tried here, but currently it won't give automatic updates to the clients. This is still under development, but shortly it will be. In the near future, it's going to be available, of course, and you will be able to upgrade your device, your recorder, from the application. No need with a disk on key or connecting remotely and whatever. Okay, so at the moment it's not available. Of course, we already have the menu, and it is working on specific devices we have here. But in the near future, it's going to be available. Okay, we were in the push notifications. So in push notifications, really short, really quick, we can see first of all the online devices, okay, on our app. I'm going to choose the same NVR that we dealt with.
This is where
Yes.
you do it per phone and not per device, correct? Meaning you already showed us when you activate push notification, but it was for all users.
Okay,
Now it's basically for my phone.
Let's make a small, let's organize our minds. What I showed was how I access to the NVR and change this parameter from the NVR itself. Okay, so I basically changed the setting on the NVR. Now I'm accessing, let's do it again. I'm accessing only the push notification setting, which gives me both of the options. This is where we will almost always access this feature, the push notification, the settings. And here we have both options. We can first action when open push message. Basically, the translation is a bit wrong, but it's the first switch determines what happens on the NVR. Okay, now we switch the push notifications on the NVR itself, and here the second switch is the subscription right here. This is our subscription. So if we are not subscribed into the different pushes, the push notifications, let me try to cancel this because it gives us a lot of notifications. Okay. So in NVR Israel right now we have the action. Okay, we have the push message activated for the NVR, and we are not subscribed to any of the events. Whenever we switch the second icon, the second switch, then we can choose the other parameters regarding to the push messages that we are going to get. So we can choose first of all if we get a live view or if we're gonna get a remote playback of that same event. If it's a motion, we're gonna get a playback of that motion. If it's a sensor, playback of that sensor. If it's a face detection, a playback of the face detection. How do we choose which events we're going to get and which not? Then we have all of that sorted out right here. We have the analytics alarms, everything that regarding to analytics, starting from the basic camera tampering. If somebody's dealing with the lens, painted with a spray or something, object monitoring, sterile area, line crossing, face detection. Okay, so we can get events only for those kind of events. Face comparison, if there is if this switch is on, then we will be able to see the faces themselves on. Then we get a push for face recognition. Okay, somebody has been recognized, is already on the database of the NVR, and then we recognize them. We're gonna get the push for that as well, and any other push. Okay, and any other option for the full disk. Okay, camera offline. Motion, of course, sensor in motion. We can, when we press the motion, we can particularly choose the cameras that we want to get the motion notifications from. All of the list of the cameras are here. And of course, I'm not gonna save it because if I save it, we're gonna get a lot of push. If you activate the push, make sure that you activate only what you need. Okay, now since we have the analytics, it shouldn't be a problem. You won't get any false alarms. Okay, we're near the end. The last two things that we have here are first the about. In the about, you can see the current firmware, okay, your current application firmware that you have on your phone. 174. You can see the name of the phone. Okay. If there is any bug, you can report the bug. You can see the statement or the privacy statement of the application, all of the legal issues, and help. The help, usually for some reason many people ignore the help because usually it will open a web browser that shows you, bullet points of the different things that you want help with on the application. But in this case, it is very, very interactive. If you go into the help, we can see a list of features: live view, remote playback, serverless, basically all of the things, all of the features that we have on our application. Let's choose, I don't know, the remote playback. Okay, I choose the remote playback. Look what we have. We see a playback on the background, and we can see lines and explanations that show us what every button does. Of course, if we scroll down, then we can see if there are more things to show. Then, of course, we can see all of the other explanations, such as the color. What does the color mean? For manual record, for analytics record, we have the two keys, the light blue. Schedule is the blue, yellow is the motion, and etc., etc. Of course, you can scroll down and get information for everything that exists on the application. Okay, so even the help here is interactive and will make you understand what you're doing in the application really, really fast. Okay, so it took a little longer than we anticipated, but well, then if anyone have any question, please you can help. I will unmute.
Just before the questions, first of all, thank you, David. I learned a few things myself.
Happy to help.
Just before you all leave, because we stretched it a little bit today, thank you very much for joining. Like you saw, in provision-isr philosophy in general, we believe that the app is a very helpful tool, both for you as an installers, but also for the customer. And we try to bring everything you can do on the local machine, on the local DVR or NVR, to the app. So you saw that you can do, I think you can do almost everything you can do locally, you can do from the app as well. This is what guides us all the time. And there's more and more features coming all the time. Thank you very much for joining. Like I said, we are here for the next 25 minutes at least to answer any questions that you might have. Feel free to open your mic or ask the question in the chat box, and I will ask on behalf of you. For those of you that have to leave, thank you very much for joining and hope to see you in our next seminars. And feel free to open your mic and ask any question. Thank you. David, I will ask a few questions. When enabling a notification on the phone, you enable it to anyone else that is subscribed. How can you avoid controlling the push to other people on your recorder?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so whenever we, okay, me personally, we're going to change the ability to, let me show you. Okay, so I hope you can see it, yes. Okay, so of course for the push notification, okay, for the push notification, this option right here, to enable or disable it for the entire, for all of the users, okay, whether they get a push or not get a push, this option is going to contain an alert mentioning that you're going to cancel push notifications on the NVR. So whoever is connected to that NVR won't get more push notifications. Now, if you subscribe to the, if you have subscribed to your wanted events that you want, okay, you only subscribe to motion and to face recognition, and somebody canceled the push ability on the phone, on the NVR, then you will no longer get the application. But when you turn it back on, then you will still be subscribed only to the events that you have chosen. Okay, so at the moment, this is the option. You can, whatever you are subscribed for, you will remain subscribed, as long as, of course, we have the push ability available on the NVR switched on. I hope it answered the question. Let me read it once again to see that I got it.
I'm pretty sure, but I will explain it in a general concept. You can do both. You can activate push. First, you need to activate the push notification feature in the NVR or in the DVR. And then you need to activate per users, meaning each user, what his authority, what kind of push notification he will get and when. Hope it was helpful enough. David, please also show again the group feature, but also before this, go back to local settings. Sorry, not local setting, go back. Remote setting. Something that many customers ask me, choose one of them. Some things that I'm being asked a lot when it comes to NTSC and PAL. In the system, under system, general setting, there is a small feature called video format. Now you need to understand, hold on. You need to understand that provision-isr devices come on default in PAL system. If you are in the NTSC range, whether it's Canada, US, South America, most of your monitor will work on NTSC format. One of the things that we learned that it's much easier to set it up from the app, because sometimes you connect the monitor, you're not on site or something, the customer do it, and he does not have any video displayed on his monitor. One of the reasons could be that the default setting is PAL, so all you need to do is to connect from your phone and change it here from PAL to NTSC, and then he will get his videos on his screen. So this is a small tip for you. David, go ahead and explain again the group feature under authorities.
Okay, so the group is, I hear myself echo. Okay, so the group is simple to understand. First of all, we have users and we have groups. User will always be a part of some kind of a group, okay, or either the administrator or any other group that we will create. The user will get its authorities, not authorities, but the permissions from the group. Okay, so it depends for what group this user is a part of, and the user will get the permissions from that group. So let's say that we want to create a user, we have an employee, okay, we have a store, we have some employees, and we want to allow them to access to our cameras, but we don't want them to change any settings, okay? So the thing that we're going to do is to access the permission group, okay? We have here a lot of permission groups, but we're going to create a new one right on the bottom, add permission group. We're gonna give it a group name. Okay, let's write it a test, for example. Now we can choose what kind of permissions this group is going to have. So let's say that our employees, they're not supposed to access locally into the NVR, only remote, only from the application or from the VMS or the web interface. So we're gonna choose remote, and we get the list of the list of cameras, and we just need to go through one by one. We can see that whenever we have the title, which is camera, then the area that stands for that parameter is on the top. So camera, the name of it, second floor. So playback, the parameter that relates to that playback is on the top, it's off. So we want to allow our employees to access the playback, okay, for that camera, second floor camera. We want to allow them to preview, okay, all of the, whoever is connected by this permission group. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing for all of our cameras. This is how we create. The permission group. We save it later on. We can press the save button, and all of our permission group already exists. Okay, there is already a group called this name, and I'm going to change the name and save it successfully. Now we have this permission group. Whoever is connected that is a part of this permission group. Let's do an explanation. I will add a user, and we're gonna choose this group, for example. So whoever is being added as a part of this permission group would only have the ability to preview and playback 2 cameras. You won't be able to do anything but it.
Thank you, David. Another question. If I understand correctly, the question, one, how can I will read it as it is. How can allow not an admin to create user or change his password?
Not an admin to?
Ran, if I understand correctly, you're asking if I can change the password of the admin. Nobody else but the admin can change his own password. So I hope I'm getting you right.
I think I know what is. I think I know what he's asking. Okay, this is the permission group. Okay. Okay. If you allow account and authority, when you create the permission group, okay, whether you create or edit your permission group, if you tick account and authority, whoever is on this permission group will have the ability to access account and authority and change things over there. Okay.
No, it's not new. Another question, what is object monitoring? This is for a different seminar. Object monitoring is the ability to choose what kind of object you're looking for. Is it a human being? Is it a four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive? We have that abilities, but it's for a different seminar. Is the user setting allow change password?
Again?
Does the user setting allow to change passwords?
Does the user allowed to change passwords? I'm afraid this is a question I will have to test to give an answer. Because if you create a permission group and you add someone from the permission group and then he can create another user and change passwords for other users, doesn't seem logic. I need to check it.
That's it. From what I see, there's no more question. If we are still here.
Thank you all for joining.
Okay, in push notification, what is the difference between live and remote playback? It means basically for any push notification, you can decide what will happen when you open the push notification. Because when you open it, basically the app is being opened. But what do you want to see? Do you want to see live from the cameras that sent that push notification? Or do you want to see the remote playback that occurred when this alert went on?
For example, we have here a lot of push notifications. I'm going to wait for one of them. This one, the left one, is for live view. So let's wait for one of them to pop up. Okay, I press the live view. I get the live view for that specific push notification. Now I get another pushes, okay, from other cameras. I will press this time the playback. There is a good chance that we won't get a playback because it is currently being written on the NVR. As you can see, a lot of pushes. Yeah, sometimes I have bad ideas. Okay. Basically, we get the playback. Whenever we press the playback button, we get a playback. It will take some time for the playback to load, okay, because it is currently happening and been written on the NVR.
Exactly, and this is why we recommend to send to do live when you get a push, because you want to see what's going on right now. However, when maybe if it's nighttime, it's better.
For example, here now I say press a bit older push notification, and then we can see the recording. Okay, right here. can even pinch into the recording, so we can see a closer resolution for our recording. We can of course take it a little bit to the back or front.
I'm being asked here, how can I send email with notification? Email is part of the alerts you may get when there is an alert, like notification. You can decide if you want to have notification, if you want to have email. You don't send the notification itself to the email, you send an email with the alert. Can you show where do you set up email notification?
Yes. Let me try to cancel the push. 1 second. This is why I told you guys, whenever you subscribe to a push message, only subscribe to what's important for you. Otherwise, you're gonna get tons of pushes. Okay, just for knowledge.
I wanted to show how to activate email notification.
Yes, you're gonna go into the remote settings. Okay, remote settings. You're gonna go into your device. Okay, you go into the network, email. In email, we provide the email details that the NVR is going to use in order to send emails. Okay, and if you want to decide whether to send or not to send email alerts, then we're gonna go into the alert. The alert button is concentrating